elderly-looking woman was trudging up a mountain one day. It was warm and sweat was pouring off of her face. She was bent over because there was a bag of rocks on her back. She came to a place where the path diverged. This path went straight up. It was clear, it was wide. This path was twisted and was grown over with brambles and had big rocks right in the middle of it.
Yes. Pause. Dang it.
And she thought, oh, that's an easy choice, until she looked down right in front of the twisted path. She moved things around with her foot and she saw a sign that said, her name, this is your path. Oh, okay. So she continues up the mountain. And a couple of hours into it, she thinks, God, I am so thirsty. And she heard something behind a rock and she thought maybe they'll have some water. And as she goes around this big rock, she hears, hee-haw, hee-haw. And there is a majestic donkey standing right in front of her. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I'm practicing for a big speech, and that weird sound keeps coming out of my mouth, and why do you have a bag of rocks on your back? She sat down, he brought her some water, and she told him the story. She said, where I'm from in the village, it's a law that from the time you can walk, you have to put a bag over your back, and every time you make a mistake,
Oh, no.
every time you sin, any transgression, you have to find a rock that's equal, put it in the sack, and carry it for the rest of your life. At the end of your life, you take the rocks up this mountain, and there's a wizard up there, I hear he's kind of horrifying, who decides whether you're forgiven or not. If you're forgiven, you get to fly off into the clouds. You're not forgiven, you get kicked off the mountain. So you see, this is a really big deal, and I've got to get back on the path because I'm dying today and I'm late. And the donkey says, that's a very weird tradition. Show me one of those rocks. And so she pulls out a rock, and she says, well, this is... I wasn't always that great with animals. I lived on a farm and they were kind of treated mean. And even when I was older, I had this crazy life. I neglected them a little bit. Oh, well, that sounds like a long time ago. Oh yeah, now I love animals. I rescue every animal I can find. I support all kinds of, well, he says, I have a deal for you. You leave me that rock and I'm going to make a big contribution to the animal sanctuary of your choice. Oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, let's do it. But I gotta go. She gets back on the path and she's walking a couple more hours when she thinks, I am so hungry. And there appears on the path a little table. It's a table that's got all kinds of good, yummy food on it. And sitting in one of the little chairs is a little piggy. She's pink, she's jolly, she's happy, and she sees the woman and she says, come party with me, I've got food. And did you know there's a bag of rocks on your back? Woman sits down, gobbles up some food, tells her the story. Oh, so what's one of those rocks? And she pulls out a big, ugly one that's got really sharp corners on it and spikes. And she said, I've cut myself on this one a lot. And she sets it down and she said, my sister was killed. Oh, says Piggy, did you kill her? No. An evil man killed her, but I couldn't prevent it. And, oh, says Piggy, so you really carry it to remind you of your sister? Well, yeah, kind of. I have something for you. And she puts a jewel in her hand. And the woman looks deeply into it. She says, "Oh my God, it's my sister." She's laughing. "How did you do that?" "Oh, we have our ways. I'm going to give you that gem if you give me that ugly rock. And whenever you want to think of your sister, you pull out this gem and you see her laughing." Oh my God. Yes, that might be cheating, but yes, that feels so good, and I gotta go because I'm late. Thank you. She gets back on the path and she's starting to feel lighter. She's starting to feel younger. She's standing up straighter. And she thinks, wow, what a trip this has been. And just as she's coming around the corner, she hears some alluring music. Oh my God, you know how it is when you hear the beginning of a tune and you know what it is and you've got to figure it out? Well, that's what she was thinking. I have to know what that is. And she looked between the trees, and there was the most exquisitely beautiful animal she has ever seen. Yes, it was a possum. And the possum is sitting at the bottom of the tree playing a ukulele. And she's playing, yes, we will rock you. And she gets up and gives her a high five, and she says, "Yes, my darling, you know good music. Sit down here and tell me why the hell you have a bag of rocks on your back." She sits down. She tells her the story. "Oh, tell me about one of those rocks." And she gets out a couple of rocks, and they're small, but she says they're very heavy. "I had a kind of a chaotic life and wasn't always the best parent. It's such a job, and sometimes I didn't do very well at it." And she started to cry. And she looks at her and says, "How do you feel about forgiveness?" "Oh, I'm big on forgiveness. I forgive everybody. I try all the time. When something happens, I try immediately to forgive." No, my dear. How do you feel about self-forgiveness?" "Oh, well, no, I can't do that because, you see, that's only the wizard can forgive, and you can't possibly do that." "Well, darling, I'm a bit of a wizard myself. I have something for you if you will leave me those rocks. Well, here's a certificate. And it says, 'I forgive you.'" "Oh, but just take it with you. All you have to do is repeat it as you're climbing up the rest of the mountain." "Well, okay, that feels kind of good, and I do have to run. Thank you." And she gets up, back on the path, and she's walking and sweating, and she's saying, "I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive me. Oh my God." And she was filled with this light and this energy, and she was light and felt so much younger and brighter. And she's almost laughing when she sees she's at the top of the mountain. And there he is, a gargantuan wizard, 18 feet tall. And he's looking down at her. He has big red eyes and steam coming out of his ears, and he says, "Where the hell have you been? You're late for dying. And look at you, you hardly have any rocks there. What the hell is wrong with you?" And she's taken back at first, and she's thinking, well, wait a minute. I don't think I'm dying. I mean, look at me. I've never been more alive in my life. And I don't think I need no friggin' rocks. and I don't think I need you. Well, he huffs and he puffs and he gets right down in her face like he's gonna chew her up. And then he smiles. And he disappears just like that. She is laughing almost hysterically. She says, I've got to get back to the village and tell everybody about this. She goes down the mountain and she's singing, we will, everybody, rock you!